Hi everyone, this is Amanda Woodard. This is my Module 8 assignment. And this week we're talking about habits of mind, kind of putting it together, our personal philosophy, and class reflections. So the first big thing was that 16 habits of mind. Um, I read through all the summaries. There's persisting, making sure we stick to it, persevering in a task through completion, managing impulsivity, listening to with understanding and empathy, thinking flexibility, thinking about your own thinking, striving for accuracy and precision, and so on and so forth. A lot of these, since I teach seventh grade through seniors, I find that a lot of these kind of fit a variety of students at a variety of ages. Overall, with me, because I've been dealing a lot more with social emotional learning this year, because I'm also our high school counselor, that, and I will say, so most of my students are seniors, which is a fun age because I love helping kids kind of figure out what are we doing next, what do we have to do to get there. But also it's hard because I kind of find that seniors are in this place of not always knowing exactly how to, they feel like an adult, but they're being treated like a child. So there's kind of this power struggle that we kind of see in the classroom. I know it affects behaviors. So I was really thinking about listening to others, understanding empathy. One of my, well, my New Year's resolution this year was to be better active listening because I think that's really important, especially in my job. So they talk about understand others, devoting mental energy to another person's thoughts and ideas. So like refraining from sharing your own or using yours to kind of overshadow what they're sharing with you. So I kind of looked up things that teachers could do as well as students. So it kind of talks about shifting the culture of, like home, school, workplace, things like that. So things that I could do, closely observe verbal responses and normal or nonverbal behaviors, making sure I'm paying attention to students in the classroom, pay attention to their face, like as far as the nonverbal cues they might be sharing with me. Label the emotion you're inferring from others. We've been doing a lot of, and I wish I could think of the name, but it's this giant chart and there's like 4 sections and they're different colors and different emotions. We've been doing a lot of stuff where students will come in and tell me, this is where I'm starting, and it could be in a green area, and then this is where I'm ending based on the class. And my hope is to always have it be moving in a positive direction. It doesn't always, but that also gives me feedback on maybe if a student over the course of the hour kind of went into a negative place, that I should maybe find them later in the day and kind of follow up with them, maybe have a one-on-one in hopes that we can repair or get to the bottom of what's going on, because sometimes it is stuff that's out of our control. I feel like as teachers, we are feeling a lot of things happening that are not necessarily in our control. Maybe home is tough right now. Maybe student is at home at night while parents are working. I have a student right now I've been working with journaling because she is only in 7th grade, but her guardian works 24 and 36-hour shifts. And we kind of were just talking about, you're so tired when you hear, maybe that is affecting our mood. Like, what should we do? And it turns out she's basically just home alone all the time. And so she kind of doesn't have a strict schedule. And, that's hard when there's no one there to kind of have that structure, make sure you're fed. And so she really was just waiting until the next day to come in and eat at breakfast. And so then I thought, well, maybe I need to have a snack at the end of the day that I could send home with her, or have just a little something. It doesn't have to be much, but just to make sure she's taken care of. So those are things that I try to do during the day as much as I can while I still teach 7 preps every day. So I don't feel like I do justice to either of my jobs, but I'm trying. So some other things I talked about. So paraphrase the content is actually something I learned a lot about last summer, is paraphrasing, which does not mean just repeating back what someone has said to you like a parrot, because that is not always a way of taking it in if you're just repeating it back. Or if you are just nodding your head, because that doesn't always mean you're listening, you're not engaged. And then other things like offer a description of what the person seems to be seeking, and then let them give you feedback to say if we're on the right track or not. And then, so I looked up students also, things to work with students, because every Friday our whole building does a social emotional lesson with our 3rd hour, and I have the seniors. We have talked about active listening, especially at the start of the semester when I did like a welcome back. Has anyone thought, what are we going to do? Progress, what should we work on? And so I shared mine as my example when we did our SMART goals, and how Mrs. Woodard is going to line up her SMART goals with being a better active listener. But then for the students, it talks about strategies that they can use. So the 3 P's: pause, paraphrase, and probe. So pause, why effective listeners need to learn how to pause. So it's just basically setting aside your own thoughts and listening to others and hoping to take that in. Paraphrase, letting others know that you're trying to understand them and that you're valuing their thoughts and ideas. Probe, showing others that their ideas are worthy of exploration and consideration. I think also this is something that we as teachers can also do. It doesn't take long to ask additional questions to a student to make them feel like what they've contributed is really valuable in the discussion. So I feel like that's something really important. And I think a lot of times, and I don't know if it's the age, I always think that it's the age, but I find a lot of my older students are really just listening with the intent to respond and not necessarily understand. So that's something we have worked on. But some of the reasons you have to listen to others with the understanding and empathy, understand their point of view beneath the words, what's really happening, what is their real message. And I put that listen to respond, not as like, that's what we should do, but I find a lot of students do that. And it's not just students. I also work with people who I feel like at a staff meeting aren't necessarily trying to understand, but they're just waiting to have their chance to talk. And then monitor one's own thoughts, making sure that when we're being a good listener, that we are fully listening and not just taking their response and kind of molding it to what lines up with us. So personal philosophy and reflection. So I have really enjoyed our Curriculum 21 Essential Education for a Changing World book. I feel like that in our videos really aligned with some of the things I feel like need to happen with education. So anyway, chapter 13. So I liked that shifting our mental models, that we have to understand how we assess student learning. We have to be open-minded, flexible, patient, and have courage. I feel like I always preach, like, you got to have that growth mindset, and it's really hard for people to have that if the people they're surrounded with don't have that. And so if I say, well, this is just how it is, or I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do that, or whatever it might be, I need to be reflecting what my expectations for students are, because what's example in my setting if I'm not willing to do that? So I also agree with Costa and Calic, I think is how you say it. Just saying that educators are realizing the new vision is more concerned with teaching survival skills. Good or bad, I feel like this is important because I don't know if it's my content area or like my personal views kind of maybe cloud it, but I find that with students in my content area, and maybe it's the age of my population, because I mostly have seniors all day this year, I feel like I'm always trying to keep employability for students in mind. I mean, I still touch the standards. I show them how it's relevant. Why do you need to know this? What are you going to do with this after high school? But with students, especially when they're 17, 18, seniors, getting not always sure what they're going to do next, I'm trying to give them their best chance at being able to support themselves after high school. So I have a lot of kids who will say, well, I want to work at the feedlot full time after graduation. That's great. So let's look at getting your CDL or OSHA training or whatever you need to make sure that you can keep progressing or be high enough on the chain to support yourself. I want to work at the office for my family farm. That's awesome. So let's get you Microsoft certified, QuickBooks, anything we can do. I actually have students who have done that, and I have one that's currently doing QuickBooks. And then I just feel like anything, I'm always looking, especially because I kind of started the IPSs for students in the fall, that I think is really important to be touching base with them to know what is their aspirations, where are we going. Traditional education doesn't fit my students, and I don't know how bigger schools look at this, but I feel like we have a population that needs us to be just giving them those tools for success and not just teaching them what we're, just because it's in a textbook. So I liked that, getting into the habit. So the goal for students is to become self-directed learners. And I really like that. I like to give students options. I like to do choices and give them the opportunity to be in charge of what they're doing, because ultimately they're all getting to the same, and they know they're going to get to the same objective, but not all my kids learn the same. And I really like that. So I'm really interested in finding that book of strategies by Costa and Calic. I think that I might just Google it and see if there's anything I can find, but I am really interested in reading more about that. So just reflection. So I really like this course. I like that it offered new ideas, or a new look at things. I am truly like a lifelong learner. I always tell students that. I tell my family that because I've been in school for a long time, and after spring, I'm going to start another program, and so I'll be in school even longer. But I always just say, well, I'm a lifelong learner, and I feel like confident and secure when I have that task to complete. The ideas we covered in this class really hit home with me. I'm not a traditional person, and I'm definitely not a traditional teacher. So I just felt like some of it really validated that I am moving in the right direction. And I really felt like the materials we talked about, like I love to take kids outside. I think, especially living in a rural area, that we have all the opportunity to incorporate nature and community and all these partnerships in our classrooms. And that's what we should be doing, because our school is going to stay open based on our community. Sorry, I got a little off track, but I just really just felt validated in this course. And just so some of my big takeaways is just the nature focused, and share my growth mindset with students as well as staff, making sure that I'm modeling my expectations for others. So I felt like this was just a good class to kind of give me that boost I needed this time of year. And it was really nice to meet other students who are in similar situations than me, and just be able to share encouragement, ideas, all kinds of stuff. And here are my resources that I used for this week. Thank you.